Hello, welcome once again to my channel, SST Chemistry channel, YouTube channel. And I'm very, very happy to say that because of your motivation, large viewership, I am always motivated to produce videos for you. This video will be on equivalent mass of compounds. We had already discussed on the equivalence of elements and had a famous slogan, a song that we used to sing to demonstrate the uniqueness, the application of equivalent concept, that all chemical reactions take place in equivalence. Whether the mole proportion may be 1 is to 3 or 2 is to 3, 2 is to 5, depending on the balanced equation. But in every case, in terms of equivalence, one equivalent of any reactant will produce one equivalent or will react with one equivalent of the other reactant to produce one equivalent of the product. X equivalent, X equivalent, X equivalent. So that's the beauty of the equivalent concept. Let us now apply this equivalent concept to compounds, different types of compounds. Let's first take up equivalent mass of acids. It is equal to the molecular mass by its basicity. Basicity, what is basicity? Is the number of replaceable hydrogen atoms, or correctly, it is the number of hydrogen atoms displaced in the reaction, because you know that equivalent mass is reaction specific. Even if an acid has two replaceable hydrogen atoms like H2SO4, but if a given reaction will show only one hydrogen replaced, then the basicity here is 1. So this factor will be 1, not 2. But if nothing is given in the data, then you will take complete neutralization. So you take the basicity of sulfuric acid as 2. Now that I have shown here, if it is given this reaction, a partial neutralization where only one hydrogen is displaced while other hydrogen is still there, in that case, it is the factor is 1. And if complete neutralization happens, then 98 by 2, molecular mass by 2, the basicity will be the maximum number of replaceable hydrogen atoms. So gram equivalent mass is the mass of an acid in grams that will furnish Avogadro's number of ions, 1 mole of hydrogen ions. So that's the definition, nothing in terms of electron. But we saw in our element program that it is the mass of an element which loses or gains 1 mole of electrons. But in case of these acids, bases, salts used in non-redox reaction, metathesis reaction, when there is no electron exchange, in that case we will discuss for 1 mole of ions. If it is acid, 1 mole of hydrogen ions. If it is base, it will be 1 mole of OH minus ions, or it is the amount of the base which will react with completely with 1 mole of H plus ions. We can define in a reverse manner. Let's see that. And you know, most of the non-metallic oxides are acidic. So how to find their equivalent masses? That is, it is molecular mass divided by the number of H plus ions produced by the hydrolysis of one molecule. I repeat, one molecule of the acid, that is acidic oxide. For example, you are asked to find what is the equivalent mass. We shall shortly write EM for equivalent mass of SO2. So you treat with water and see how many H plus ions it is producing. One molecule of that acidic oxide or non-metallic oxide is producing. So here the factor is 2. The basicity factor is 2. If no reaction is given, then the equivalent mass of acid is determined from all the hydrogen atoms that can be displaced. For example, phosphoric acid, it is 3. The basicity is 3, so the factor that you divide with is 3. This is orthophosphorus acid or simply phosphorus acid. It is 2. You will later know in the chemical bond program that S3PO3 is not a tribasic acid, it is a dibasic acid. And you will know that one hydrogen atom is directly bonded to phosphorus atom, so that will not be dissociated, right? Similarly, hypophosphorus acid, although it looks like a tribasic acid like this, it is a monobasic acid because 2 hydrogen atoms are directly bonded to the central atom phosphorus. So if no reaction is given, you are asked to find out the equivalent mass, then you have to presume complete neutralization. Take all the replaceable hydrogen atoms. Bases. How to find equivalent mass of bases. Now tell me why we are so much keen or studying to find the equivalent mass. It's because chemical reactions take place in equivalence. That is why we are trying to know what is the factor that the molecular mass will be divided by so that we get the equivalent mass. So for finding equivalent mass of a base, we can have a hydroxide base or an oxide base, metallic hydroxide or metallic oxide. So equivalent mass is molecular mass by the acidity. Acidity means, the acidity of a base means it is the number of OH groups actually displaced in a reaction. If it is NaOH, there is only one OH group, one OH minus ion, so 40 by 1, 40. If it is calcium hydroxide, then its molecular mass by 2, because in one molecule there are 2 OH minus ions. So the acidity is 2, it's 55.55. But if it's an acidic, it's the oxide of a metal, not hydroxide, then the formula is like this. Equivalent mass is equal to molecular mass by the number of OH minus ions produced from one molecule of the oxide by hydrolysis reaction. For example, you have sodium oxide. What is the factor, acidity factor that you will divide? So you react sodium oxide with water and see how many hydrogen ions how many hydroxide ions it is producing. So if you balance it, you find 2 NaOH. So one molecule of sodium oxide is generating 2 OH minus ions. So the factor is 2 here. So in case of sodium oxide, the molecular mass divided by 2. Same is the case with calcium oxide, because calcium oxide also will react with water to produce. If you can write down the equation here, you will find that calcium oxide also will produce 1 calcium oxide will produce 2 OH minus ions. So here also the factor is 2. And what is the definition of equivalent mass of a base? It is the mass of the base which can react with 1 mole of H plus ion completely. Remember, acids, bases, salts that we are discussing now, they will be used for a metathesis reaction. Therefore, we always will define them in terms of ions, 1 mole of ions. If it is acid, then what mass of the acid will produce 1 mole of H plus ions? If it is base, how many grams or how much of the base will produce 1 mole of OH minus ions, or conversely will completely react with 1 mole of H plus ions, right? And similarly, we shall see for salts. Have a look. Salts. How to find equivalent mass of a salt used in a metathesis reaction. See, salt can also be used for a redox reaction, but there the equivalent mass will be different. That will be dependent on the change in oxidation number. Hold on, we'll be studying that. So equivalent mass of a salt is molecular mass by total positive or total negative charge, which are same, or valency in one molecule or one empirical formula unit. For example, we want to find the equivalent mass of sodium sulfate. Now, the total positive charge is 2 into 1. Sodium is plus 1 and there are 2 sodium, so total positive charge is 2. And so also, the total negative charge is also 2. One sulfate ion is bearing 2 minus. So, any one of the total charge, either positive or negative, so that is the factor. And if you add up all these, it will be this divided by 2, and I've got it 71 is the equivalent mass of sodium sulfate. And its molecular mass is double of that, Similarly, calcium carbonate has a factor of 2. Total charge, positive charge is 2 plus, total negative charge is 2 minus. So 100 is its molecular mass by 2, so 50 is the equivalent mass of calcium carbonate. Sodium chloride has a valency 1, positive, negative each 1, so 58.5 by 1, same as its molecular mass. For example, we find aluminum sulfate. What is the equivalent mass of aluminum sulfate? The factor is 6. Why? Because the total positive charge is 2, 3s are 6, total negative charge is also 6. 3 minus 2. 3 2s are 6. So any one of the total charge is the factor, so divided by 6. So all this divided by 6 is giving 57. Just check it. If I am wrong, you tell me. I can correct it. At least in the PPT lecture note that I used to provide in the description box in every lecture. So what is the definition of equivalent mass for a salt? It is the mass of the salt which will possess 1 mole of positive or 1 mole of negative charge of each ion. So it is not in terms of H plus or OH minus. It is in terms of 1 mole of what mass of the salt will carry or will contain 1 mole of each ion, positive or negative. That is the equivalent mass of salt. Now, why we are doing all these things? We are doing because the same song. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. I think we did give a tuning to that. I don't remember, it's long time that has elapsed by now when we studied the first concept of equivalent mass in case of elements. The tuning is like this. I created this tuning just for in a lighter vein. I am singing that song. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. Right? That's the reason why we are doing all these things. Now, we can also find out the equivalent mass of salt in an indirect way by adding up the equivalent mass of the positive ion and equivalent mass of the negative ion. And for each ion, the equivalent mass is the ionic mass by its valency or charge. For example, we will find the equivalent mass of the whole aluminum sulfate salt. We can split into two parts: equivalent mass of aluminum ion, equivalent mass of sulfate ion. And equivalent mass of aluminum ion is 27, is the ionic mass, by the valency is 3. Plus the equivalent mass of sulfate ion is its ionic mass, 96 by 2. So this is 9, this is 48, it is 57. Same thing we will get if we take the entire molecule, find its molecular mass. It is coming 342, and this factor we already know 3 2s are 6, 2 3s are 6, so the factor is 6. So the same answer you get whether you take the entire molecule or do it separately. First find the equivalent mass of a positive ion, then for negative ion, and add up. Same thing. Now, here we enter into the most fascinating part of equivalent concept. The same principle will be applicable here as we did for the elements, the number of electrons gained or lost per molecule or per ion, or it is the change in oxidation number per molecule per ion. For example, we want to find the oxidation number of permanganate ion or potassium permanganate. Potassium is a spectator ion. It has no contribution for finding equivalent mass. The one which is suffering change, manganese, is going from +7 to +2. So the change is 5. Or you can write the ion electron method of balancing. Balance the ionic equation, you'll find 5 electrons are gained for each molecule, each ion of, permanganate, right? So the factor is 5. The ionic mass, if you are going to find the equivalent mass of an ion, then ionic mass by 5. If you take the entire molecule KMnO4, then the entire molecular mass by 5. Here the factor is 5 because the change in oxidation number that manganese suffers is 5 in acidic medium. So this is an acidic medium. So we can use KMnO4 as an oxidant in all the mediums like acidic medium, basic medium and neutral medium. So it depends how many electrons are involved or what is the change in oxidation number per molecule or per ion. For example, in acidic medium we have just seen change in oxidation number is 5. So the factor is 5 here. So 158 is the, if it is KMnO4, same factor is there. But if for permanganate ion you take the ionic mass, but the whole potassium permanganate you have to take the molecular mass. 158 by 5, 31.6 is its equivalent mass, KMnO4 in acidic medium. But if it acts as an OA, as an oxidant in basic medium, it changes from permanganate to manganate. So the change in oxidation number is 1. Here is +7, here is +6. The change is 1. So the factor is 1. So it is same as its molecular mass. So I suggest in examination or when you are solving a problem, then you go for finding the change in oxidation number per molecule or per ion. Not spend time in writing the balanced ionic equation by any ion electron method, right? It is better to go for a oxidation number determination and find the change that is occurring per molecule or per ion. Similarly, in neutral medium, permanganate goes to MnO2 solid from +7 to +4. So the change in oxidation number is 3. And also you get the same thing by balancing in ion electron method. So the factor is 3 here, 1 here and 5 here, there. So 158 by 3, it is 52.67. So what you found that equivalent mass is reaction specific. In one reaction it is 31.6, in the other reaction it is 158, same as its molecular mass, and in still another reaction it is 52.67. What is our basic interest? Why are we studying equivalent mass? It is because we will see that all chemical reactions take place in equivalence. Mole wise it may be 1:5, 2:3, like that, but equivalent wise always 1:1. Similarly, potassium dichromate always goes from +6 to +3. So always it goes from +6 to, most of the time it goes to +6 to +3. In that case, the change in oxidation number is 3. But there are 2 chromium atoms. So the total change is 2 into 3, 6. Remember, don't forget, you have to look to the entire ion or the entire molecule. You find the change for one atom, but you see the total number of such identical atoms is 2. So into 2. Or you can go for a ion electron method balancing. While you go in ion electron method balancing, you need not have to multiply, because automatically this 6E will come in some site, LHS or RHS, right? But I have suggested you to go for a ON change method, OS change method. In that case, you have to always multiply by this factor. If there are 2 into 2. Don't look at the right side. Whatever may be the formula of right side of the same, the compound bearing the same element, but you simply ignore the right side. Take only the left side, and if there are 2 atoms, into 3, into 2, 3 atoms, into 3, and so on. Now, these factors with which we divided, taking that in the denominator, like 5, like 1, like 3, like 2, all these, whether it is a metathesis reactions, acids, bases, and salts, or it is a redox reaction like this, what we have done just now. The factor is often called N factor, or some people call it X factor. X factor has a different meaning. He has that X factor, which will distinguish him from others. It's not that same X factor. It is conventionally called X factor. That is the valency factor. Some people call it valency factor. I used to call N factor. Some others, they call S factor. You can say whatever you like. So in cases of acids, the N factor is basicity. In case of bases, the N factor is acidity. In case of salts, it is a total positive or negative charge. And in case of oxidant or reductant, it is the number of electrons lost or gained per molecule. How many times I have told you per molecule, per ion? Maybe 10 times. Only to emphasize that when you find the equivalent mass, you have to take one empirical formula unit. Right? So, in earlier times, there was another factor called equivalence factor. That was 1 by N factor. So, when you multiply 1 by N factor with the molecular mass or ionic mass, you are getting equivalent mass. So, those equivalence factor concept, that particular term is no more in use. Rather, we always say N factor, which will be divided. That is the factor with which or by which molecular mass or ionic mass will be divided. Now see, ferrous sulfate, when it acts as a reductant, reducing agent, it always go to +3 state. So the change in oxidation number is 1, +2 to +3. So the N factor is 1 here, and equivalent mass is same as molecular mass. But in case of oxalic acid, which also acts as Ra, reducing agent, the N factor is 2. Why? You can do it in 2 ways. Either you can go for a change in oxidation number method, which I suggested you to do, or balancing by ion electron method. So let us go in this way. Find the change in oxidation number per molecule. Now, carbon has an oxidation number of +3. This is +2. This is -8. Plus 2x is equal to 0. So, x is equal to +3. And here in carbon dioxide, it is +4. This plus is invisible. So, +3 to +4, the change is 1. But there are how many carbon atoms? If for 1 atom the change is 1, for 2 atoms the total change is 2. So the N factor. Henceforth, I will be always saying N factor or X factor. You can call it X factor, but I used to call it N factor, not anything. Whether it is basicity, acidity, or total positive charge, negative charge, or the number of electrons lost or gained, change in ON. I will always say N factor. Or you can do this ion electron balancing. Oxalate ion giving carbon dioxide with 2 electrons. Here you have to balance and see for one molecule or one ion how many electrons are lost or gained. It is a gain 2. So which method you like? I'm sure ON method. that is economical. Now see, sodium thiosulfate is a versatile reducing agent, particularly in reaction with iodine. We shall be looking to this interesting reaction in our volumetric analysis part. That is maybe next class, next video, or the video after the next. The thiosulfate ion will react with iodine, which acts as an oxidant to form iodide ion, and this will be oxidized to tetrathionate ion. And when you look to the change in oxidation number, sulfur is +2, may it be average. So here you take the average for calculation. So +2, and here it is +2.5. So what is the change? For one atom, because oxidation number always is determined per atom. So per one atom, the change is 0.5, +2 to +2.5. So if 0.5 is the change per one single sulfur atom, but in the reagent you have two sulfur atoms. So the total change here is 2 into 1, that is 2. So I have not written here, I've written here 0.5 into 2 because there are two sulfur atoms. So for one sulfur atom, change is 0.5, but two sulfur atoms into 2, 1. So the N factor is 1, that means sodium thiosulfate has the equivalent mass which is equal to its molecular mass. Same thing we will get if you go for a balancing by ion electron method. So simply 2, there is no hydrogen, so there is nothing to do more. So already balanced, so only electron balance, so 2 electron. So this N factor is 2 that is involved for 2 thiosulfate ions. If for 2 thiosulfate ions, 2 electrons are involved, 1 thiosulfate ion will involve 1 electron. So remember, it is always per molecule or per ion. Here it is 2 thiosulfate ion, 2 electrons. So 1 thiosulfate ion, 1 electron. So the N factor is 1 for sodium thiosulfate. Similarly, it's a very interesting case, bromate ion. It's very, very less discussed. Now see, bromate ion is a good oxidant, and it is often reduced to Br minus from +5 to -1. From +5 here, it is +5, and I'm sorry, and this is +5 here, and this is -1 here. So the change is 6, +5 to -1. The change is 6, so the N factors is 6 here. Right? So you can also get this by writing the balanced equation in acidic medium. Of course, you have to say in acidic medium. Oh, I've written that. I have written that. So whether you find this N factor from the change in oxidation number per ion or per molecule, or you can go for an ion electron method balance, so to find the number of electrons involved for 1 mole of one molecule or 1 ion of the oxidant or reductant. So in this case, the equivalent mass of KBrO3 is molecular mass by 6. But if you are given an equation like this, where bromide, which is formed, is not shown here, simply the other reductant is not bromide ion. Here the reductant yes, I will give you that equation later. Here I will give you. So where bromide ion is the reductant and bromate ion is the oxidant, where the common this bromate ion will always give bromine, but bromate ion will always give bromide ion from +5 to -1, but bromide ion will be oxidized to bromine. But often students, they don't write this. If you don't write this, then you feel that bromate and bromide has comproportionated. This is not a comproportionation reaction, truly, because if you take a labeled bromine, for example, you take a isotopic radioactive isotopic bromine, say bromine 81, bromine 82, which is a non-stable isotope. You label it, but this is ordinary bromine with average atomic mass 80, and this is a selected bromine isotope which is radioactive. It's called leveling experiment. So this is 82 bromine. So when you add some dilute acids, hydrochloric acid, you will find both bromine from the bromide ion reductant as well as bromide ion. This bromide ion, where from it has come? It has come from bromate ion, because that bromide ion will be carrying all the labeled bromine. All the labeled bromine, bromine 82, present in bromate ion will be found in bromide ion. But often we don't write this. We cancel, just like we cancel the spectators. We feel this is a spectator, we cancel. If that is the case, then the n factor is 5. Now then the n factor is 5. See, from plus 5 to 0. If no bromide ion is written, bromine is the only product, taking this to be a comproportionation, opposite of disproportionation. We have done it in our LOC program. If you haven't, then have a look to different types of reactions. So if you consider this reaction to be comproportionation reaction, then the factor will be 5. The n factor will be 5. But if take the true reaction, if in any examination you find this representation, I minus is oxidized to I2, but bromate ion is reduced to Br minus. In that case, you have to give a factor 6. But if this is not there, and of course this has to be there, if it is iodide ion, this has to be there. If the reductant is not bromide, it is iodide, this has to be there. But this is a special case where you may rub off bromide ion in right side. Truly, you should show bromide ion in RHS, because this bromide ion is coming from bromate ion, and this bromine is coming from this bromide ion. So if this is the equation given to you, then the n factor is 6. But if this bromide ion is not shown, only Br2, then the X factor has to be 5. It is not really a comproportionation reaction, truly, because if you write like this, the n factor will come 5, because there is no bromide ion here. For this representation, mind you that the n factor is 5, but for this representation, the n factor is 6. Now, let us find out the equivalent mass of a substance undergoing disproportionation reaction or auto-redox reaction or self-redox reaction. How to find the equivalent mass? Again, I will ask you a question. Why are we at all studying about equivalent mass? Same thing. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. For that only. So equivalent mass of any substance undergoing disproportionation or auto-redox is equal to molecular mass divided by the number of electrons gained or lost per molecule or per ion undergoing disproportionation reaction. The n factor is determined for such case by adding the oxidation half with the reduction half in the ionic equation or in the electron balance diagram, and then finding out for one molecule how many electrons are involved. For these many molecules, if these many electrons are involved in the balanced equation, that we can see when you write the two halves and cancel the electron. That cancelled electron is the number of electrons involved for these many number of the substances. Then you can find out for one molecule what is the number of electrons involved. So that is the n factor. See example. Say chlorine in presence of hot and concentrated alkali, it gives chlorate ion, chlorate T, and chloride ion with water. And if you write down the two steps separately, chlorine giving you chlorate ion. In acidic medium, we cannot do that. I'm sorry. This I have done it in acidic medium, so I have to rectify that. This has happened in basic medium. Do you remember how to balance this by ON method, by ion electron method in basic medium? So let us do that. 2, 2, 2. So 6 oxygen atoms are excess. So we write 6 water in the opposite direction, an opposite side, I'm sorry. Then how many hydrogen atoms are excess? 12. So 12 OH minus ions on the same side, and once again 12 water in the opposite side. Then equalization of charge. So there is minus 12, there is minus 2. So this will be 10 electrons. So 10 minus 2 minus 12, this is minus 12. And you can simplify. And then when you add up, it will be 10 electron, 5 multiplied to this second, and in the second reduction step, chlorine is giving 2 chloride, and so 2 electron, no addition of water, no addition of OH minus, so you are lucky in this step. So to cancel electron, you multiply by 5. So after that, we get 6 chlorine plus how many water? 6 water here and 12 water here. So, but no, we have multiplied by 5. Oh, I'm sorry. This 6. Yes, this will be different. It's wrong. It's not an acidic solution. I'm so sorry for this. So the net OH minus ion will come in the LHS. 12 OH minus ion here. So you have to have 12 OH minus ion here. And 2 chloride ion, and the total water molecule left out is 6 water and 10 Cl minus. So this is the balanced equation, and you divide by 2 throughout. This will be 3, this will be 6, this will be 1, this will be 3, this will be 5. So this is the final. But let us try to understand in this way. If 6 chlorine molecules involve 10 electrons, or 3 chlorine electrons involve obviously 10 electrons, then 1 chlorine will be 10 by 6. So if had it been, you don't make it 3. You see, if you will get the correct equivalent mass, then you don't make it 3 here. Don't divide by 2. 6 chlorine involves 10 electrons. Then 1 chlorine will involve 10 by 6 or 5 by 3 electrons. So the N factor is very interestingly a fraction, 5 by 3. So 5 by 3, if you divide, supposing we take chlorine as the molecular mass is 71 divided by 5 by 3, so 3 goes up, so this becomes 42.6. So that is the equivalent mass of chlorine in this disproportionation reaction. You understand? Right? Now what if we make it 2 here, 6 here? Because how can you make 2? How can you divide by 2? Because here the number of electrons are counted for 6 chlorine. So how can you, if you do that, then 3 chlorine molecules will involve 5. If 6 chlorine molecules involve 10 electrons, so 3 chlorine molecules will involve 5 electrons. Same thing, 5 by 3. So I suggest don't divide, because we are not asked to present a balanced equation. We want to find the N factor for a particular disproportionation reaction. I have given you a lot of assignments, practice assignments. When you do that sincerely, meticulously, you will get a better feel and confidence. for all this. Now the n factor is 5 by 3. Now see. Let me read out, which you already know now. For metathesis reactions, equivalent mass simply indicates the equivalence of reaction. X equivalents of A will react with X equivalents of B. That's it. But for redox reactions, it is also the mass of reactions which discharged or formed by the loss or gain of 1 mole of electrons or 1 Faraday charge. You know, the charge of 1 mole of electrons is 96,500 coulomb. That is Avogadro's number into the charge of 1 electron. How much? 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. And that product, when it will be rounded off to the nearest 500, it will be 96,500 for what we call 1 Faraday. So for oxidants and reductants, number of 1 mole of electrons that will be involving in 1 equivalent of that substance ion, oxidant ion or the reductant ion, or oxidizing agent or reducing agent, right? Equivalent mass is reaction specific, unlike molecular mass, which is always fixed. In all reactions, this slogan holds good. What is that? All chemical reactions take place in equivalents. But remember, all is not well. Equivalent concept has also its demerits. So therefore I have written it holds good for a single reaction. It's not always the case with successive reactions. We shall discuss. Hold on. Just see what is happening. Mole concept depends on the coefficients of balanced chemical equation. On the other hand, the equivalent concept is independent of coefficient of balanced chemical equation. Simply you know the n factor, and while solving problems, you will be remembering automatically the n factors for almost all agents. And then you go by the same slogan, same song, XX11. Now, here is an interesting case. Here is an interesting case where we will find the equivalent mass of water in this particular reaction. You don't say equivalent mass of water is 18 or 9. Universally, it is always the case. No, you have to write this specific reaction equation. Then only you will be in a position to find the equivalent mass of a substance. So if it is the formation of water by the reaction of hydrogen and oxygen, in that case, see, 2 mole, in terms of moles, 2 moles, 1 mole, 2 moles. And in terms of equivalents, it should be 1, 1, 1. Let's see. If 2 moles, 4 gram reacts with 32 gram, giving 36 grams of water, then 1 gram, here I have done the calculation, if 1 gram will react with 32 by 4. 4 grams reacts with 32 grams. So 1 gram reacts with 32 by 4, 8 grams. 1 is the equivalent mass of hydrogen, 8 is the equivalent mass of oxygen. And obviously, 18 by 2 is the equivalent mass of water in this case. Why? Because if it is 1 gram, this is 8 gram, this has to be 9. Why 9? Because 2 moles means 36. So if 4 grams is producing 36 grams, then 1 gram will produce 9 grams. Because 1 is the equivalent mass of hydrogen, so 9 is bound to be equivalent mass of water. So we can rationalize that by looking to the total change in oxidation number. For example, oxygen goes from -2 to here, -2 to 0. So the change in oxidation number is 2, so the n factor is 2. Also, you can find that hydrogen plus 1 to 0 for one atom, the change is 1, and for two atoms, change is 2. So either oxygen wise or hydrogen wise, for the hydrogen wise as well as oxygen wise, you can find that the X factor, the N factor for water is 2. The total change in oxidation number is 2. Now here, it's not an disproportionation reaction. I mean, the decomposition of water is not a disproportionation reaction. It is an auto-redox reaction where hydrogen gets reduced from plus 1 to 0 and oxygen gets oxidized from minus 2 to 0. So, and this is the reverse reaction, hydrogen oxygen combining to produce water. This is a spontaneous reaction, and the opposite reaction is non-spontaneous, that is carried out in an electrolysis experiment. So why 9? Why it is 9? I have proved it in another way. In this reaction, supposing we look to the opposite reaction, non-spontaneous reaction, in the cathode you are getting hydrogen and OH minus ion. Water gets split into H plus and OH minus. The H plus picks up electron to form hydrogen gas, and OH minus remain as such. Similarly, in the cathode, it is OH minus ion which is oxidized, at anode, it is the OH minus ion from water that undergoes oxidation to oxygen, and 4 H plus ion are left out. So if you add this 4 OH H plus, and if you multiply by 2 to cancel electron 4, then it will be 4 OH minus, 4 H plus. That means 4 water again, H plus and OH minus will combine to form water, and there are 6 water here. So the net water in LHS is 2 water to give you 2 hydrogen plus oxygen. So if 2 water is involved in the loss and gain of 4 electrons, then 1 water will be engaged or will involve the loss and gain, both loss and gain of 2 electrons. So the N factor is 2 here. So we have proved in the reverse, whatever is the, you have to prove the equivalent mass of water taking the opposite reaction. 2 water giving S2 plus O2. So 4 electrons are involved because you are cancelling 4 electrons. For how many water? The net water is 2. So for 1 water, the X factor is 2. Now let's look to this interesting part, that the same water can have equivalent mass of 18. For example, you look to the cathode reaction alone, not the net reaction, cathode reaction alone. So this is this 2 water giving S2 plus 2OH minus. You guys, some of you in lower level, you only write 2H plus 2 electron gives S2. You don't put 2OH minus, you don't write 2 water. But in reality, water is not ionic. It splits into ion only at the time of electrolysis at the electrode surface, right? So in this case, the N factor is 1. In this cathodic reaction, the N factor is 1. Because 2 electrons are involved for 2 water, so 1 electron is involved in 1 water, 18. Similarly, the anode reaction also the N factor is 1. 4 water will give you O2 plus 4H plus 2 water plus 4 electron. So in that case also 4 water involves 4 electron. For 1 water, 1 electron, so the X factor is 1 here also. But when you add up the 2 and find the net reaction 2 water giving 2H2 plus O2, then the the N factor is becoming 2. Then because 4 water, the residual 2 water giving 2H2 plus O2, there you have to look to the overall reaction, right? 2 water involves 2 electron. So what we did here, 2 water involves 4 electrons, I'm sorry. So 1 water will involve 2 electrons, the X factor is 2. But if you look to the individual cathode and anode reaction, individual, of course nobody bothers about that. Nobody bothers about a half reaction, a half cell reaction. It's not a half cell reaction, it is a cathode reaction. It's non-spontaneous, it's not a spontaneous one. So nobody bothers about a cathode reaction or anode reaction, but for just a higher level thinking scale, we are discussing that supposing you will be asked what will be the equivalent mass of water at cathode, at anode, it will be 18 each, but the overall reaction, the equivalent mass of water is 9, the N factor is 2. So I think I have also given a proof for that. Same, I have written once again, water picks up 1 electron, here water 2, so 1, this, and here 4 O2, this, so 1 water will be 1 by 4 and 1 H plus 1 water and 2 electron. So divided by 4, 1 electron. This will be half water. So when you add up, cancelling electron, it will be 2 water minus this H plus and OH minus will form water and another half water. So this is 3 by 2 water is coming to the left side being minus. So half H2 plus 1 by 4 O2. So half water gives half H2 1 by 4 O2. So definitely half water is nothing but is half mole of water is 9 gram and half mole of hydrogen is 1 gram. 1 by 4 mole of oxygen is 8 gram. So 9 gram is the equivalent mass, because this is the equivalent mass of hydrogen. So this is the equivalent mass of oxygen. So this is the equivalent mass of water. So that we have proved once again. Now I will take a pause. Now, let us calculate the number of equivalents, just like we were calculating number of moles. Similarly, we can calculate number of equivalents and its relationship with number of moles. Just like number of moles equal to the mass of the substance by molecular mass, in the same way, number of equivalents, shortly we write EQs, is the mass of the substance by its equivalent mass. Or number of equivalents is equal to number of moles into N factor, because here if you write molecular mass, it becomes number of moles. So the N factor, when it is multiplied with the number of moles, we shall prove that. Hold on. When we multiply the N factor of any compound or any ion with its number of moles, then we will get number of equivalents. Because numerically, number of equivalents will be greater than the number of moles if they are not same, if the N factor is not 1. Conversely, number of moles is equal to number of equivalents divided by N factor. Numerically, the number of moles is lower than the number of equivalents if the two are not same. But we will be handling many numericals with a lower unit called milliequivalents, just like millimoles, milliequivalents. Shortly write MEQ. MEQ means milliequivalents. So the number of milliequivalents is equal to number of equivalents into 1000. Just like 1 gram is 1000 milligram. Similarly, 1 equivalent is 1000 milliequivalents. So number of equivalents into 1000 will give you number of milliequivalents, right? Let us prove this. Let us prove this in one problem. 14 grams of sulfuric acid is equal to how many moles of sulfuric acid and how many equivalents of sulfuric acid. Let's find out. Number of moles is the mass by molecular mass. 98 is 1 by 7. Number of equivalents is the mass by equivalent mass. You remember If nothing is said, then you take the n factor, the basicity equal to 2. So 98 by 2 is 49. So 14 is the actual mass divided by its equivalent mass. So it is 2 by 7. So did you find the number of equivalents is two times the number of moles? It is 1 by 7, it is 2 by 7. So number of equivalents is 2 times number of moles. What is 2? The 2 is the valency factor or the n factor or the x factor. Therefore, I told you that in all cases, the number of equivalents is equal to n factor into number of moles. If n factor is 1, then the number of moles is same as number of equivalents. Now see, let us solve this problem. You pause the video now. I am going away, and when I return, you will definitely match. Read this problem, calculate the number of equivalents, EQs, and the number of milliequivalents, MEQs, present in 7 gram of sulfuric acid to be used in acid-base reaction. Also find the number of moles and millimoles, just for comparison. Okay, you do. Pause it. I am going away for some time. Ready? Let's see. Let's see what you have done. Let's see. See, 7 gram sulfuric acid. So number of EQs, equivalents, is equal to 7 by 49. I think we had done this problem. It is 1 by 7. And number of only milliequivalents we hadn't. Number of milliequivalents will be simply multiplied by 1000. It will be 1000 by 7. Whatever. Forget about it. Then number of moles is equal to mass by molecular mass, 98. It will be 7 by 49. This will be 1 by 14. Similar type of problem we had done, 1 by 14. And the number of millimoles is equal to 1 by 14 into 1000. 1000 by 14. So whether it is compared between EQs and moles or between milliequivalents and millimoles, the n factor is multiplied with the number of equivalents. The number of moles to get number of equivalents. Now see, the number of equivalents is 1 by 7. The n factor of sulfuric acid is 2. So when you multiply the number of moles here by 2, the number of moles is 1 by 14. So when you multiply 2 into the number of moles, it will give you 2 into 1 by 14, that is 1 by 7. So remember, n factor is multiplied with number of moles and divided by number of equivalents. So number of equivalents by n factor will give you number of moles. Conversely, number of moles into n factor will give you number of equivalents. Right? So we have done all this before. So number of equivalents in this case is 2 into number of millimoles. Number of moles. Similarly, number of milliequivalents is equal to 2 into number of millimoles. We can write also that. So once you get the number of moles or millimoles, immediately you can operate onto that to find the number of milliequivalents or equivalents, or the vice versa. Let us read this problem, pause it. I will be going away, and when I return, you will be ready with the answer. Calculate the number of EQs and milliequivalents of potassium permanganate used as oxidant, as an oxidizing agent in acidic medium, present in 0.2 mole, 0.2 mole of it. Also calculate the mass. Pause it. I'm going away. And return back. Now let us solve it together. Right? So the number of moles is 0.2 mole. So what is the n factor? That is important. Once you find out the n factor, because in acidic medium, permanganate goes to +2 state. So the change in oxidation number is from +7 to +2. So change in oxidation number is 5. Change is always a mod. That means only the numerical value, not the sign. So the change is 5. So 5 is the n factor here. So if number of mole is 0.2, then the number of EQs will be equal to the n factor 5 into 0.2, that is equal to 1. Remember, the number of EQs is numerically greater than the number of moles if they are not same. And it has asked to find the number of milliequivalents. So number of milliequivalents is equal to, so 1 into 1000. That is 1000 milliequivalents. And what is the mass? You know, mass by equivalent mass is the number of equivalents. So mass is equal to, it is number of equivalents is 1, number of equivalents is 1 into equivalent mass of KMnO4. Do you remember what is the equivalent mass of KMnO4 in acidic medium? So that is, you remember, I remind you, 158 was its molecular mass and 5 is the X factor is 5, N factor is 5. So 158 by 5 is equal to 31.6. So 1 into 31.6, number of equivalents 1 into a equivalent mass 31. So it is 31.6 gram. Did you get this answer? Sure? You are not cheating? Good. So the same answer I have done, I am showing it for you. The number of mole is given, means the n factor is 5. Simply multiply, you get 1. The number of milliequivalents is 1000. 1000 into that, so it is here. And to convert it into mass, you can use mole. But I have used, in the previous slide, I have used its equivalent mass. I'm sorry, here, equivalent mass, hence the number of equivalents. But in this slide, I have found the mass in terms of mole. If number of moles is 0.2, its molecular mass is 158. So the answer is same. Or here also I have done in two ways. In two ways. This is the number of EQs into equivalent mass. This is in terms of number of moles into molar mass. The answer will be same. Now we are almost at the last part of our program. So often I'm told, it's not exactly a complaint, but I'm told that why not you make short videos, 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. Well, I had planned several times to shorten it, to curtail down to 20-30 minutes and make multiple videos. This video, according to the ideal situation, what I am inclined to believe, should be split into 3 videos, 20, 20, 20, or 20, 25, 30, 35, like that. But we are now 1 hour crossed. That will bring you monotony. I understand that. But I'm sorry, when the flow is going on, I am not in a mood to go away, stop it. In later courses, I will try to prepare videos according to that plan, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. I'll see what will be the feedback from my students, whether this is good, a particular concept as much as it demands, or a particular concept will be split into 3 parts, 4 parts, right? Now read it and pause, and I'm going away. You have added 0.1 mole of aluminum sulfate with 0.2 mole of sodium sulfate in an aqueous solution. How many moles and how many equivalents of each ion is present in this solution? How many moles and how many equivalents of each ion is present in the solution? Now tell me, if number of equivalents is equal to mass by equivalent mass, or and mill equivalents is 1000 into equivalent number of equivalents. So, and number of moles is equal to mass by molecular mass. This you know. You pause it. I'm going away. Going. Now, again return back. Let us do to check. Now see how many aluminum ions are present here. In aluminum sulfate, right? It has 2 aluminum ions and 3 sulfate ions. So 0.1 mole of it will have 2 into 0.1, that is equal to 0.2 aluminum ions, and 3 into 0.1, because there are 3 sulfate ions, so it will be 0.3 sulfate ions, right? And from sodium sulfate, because the two are mixed, it is 0.2 mole is taken, 0.2. So if 0.2 mole is taken, the substance, then it indicates that 0.2 into 2, because one sodium sulfate unit has 2 sodium ions. So 0.2 mole will have 0.2 into 2, that is 0.4 moles. These are moles. Of sodium ion. And they will have sulfate ion. There is only one sulfate ion in one empirical formula unit. So 0.2 will have 0.2. So 0.2 into 1, that is equal to 0.2 moles of sulfate ion. So we have to add up sulfate, because sulfate here, sulfate here. So the total number of sulfate ion, the total number of moles of sulfate ion is equal to 0.3 from there plus 0.2 here, it will be 0.5. And aluminum ion is unique here only, that is 0.2, and sodium ion is unique, this is 0.4. This is one answer, the other one is this answer, and these two are added up to give you 0.5. But it is also asking for number of equivalents. Now tell me, how to convert number of equivalents, or how to get number of equivalents from number of moles? That is very simple. The n factor. Why for n factor? So I'm just changing the color here and writing here. So aluminum ion EQ's number of equivalents is equal to, if this is 0.2 and the valency is 3, so 3 is to be multiplied. So 0.6 equivalents of aluminum is present. Because I told you that the number of equivalents is numerically greater than number of moles. And the X factor, either for the molecule or for individual ion, is to be multiplied. 0.6 equivalents of aluminum. Similarly, we look for sodium ion. Since the X factor, the N factor is 1, then the number of equivalents is also equal to the number of moles, that is 0.4 into 1, 0.4. And what about sulfate ion? The number of moles of, number of equivalents of sulfate ion is equal to, number of moles of sulfate ion is 0.5 into 2, because the equivalent, the valency factor, the X factor, the N factor is 2, so it is 1. So here is one answer. The number of equivalents is 1 for sulfate ion and 0.6 for aluminum ion, and same 0.4 for sodium ion. Got it? If you haven't then don't hesitate to review, I mean to rewind back and again watch. I'm sure I'm not going fast to the extent that you can't understand. If you haven't, then possibly you could not concentrate. You return back, review, or rewind a bit and watch again. And this one is the last one before we go for the assignments, which will be a home task for all of you who are watching, and I am giving the answers to tally. And if you find any answer wrong, please don't hesitate to contact me. I can change it at least in the lecture notes, which is a PDF file. If not, in my video lecture, because once it is delivered and it is a 1 hour lecture, it's too difficult to cut and paste, I mean a small part. Time consuming, although possible. So bear with me. If, to err is human, so I might have committed some error in calculation that you rectify, right? There's the last one here. Oh, this one is the same. I'm so sorry. This is the solution of what we did. So aluminum ion is the number of 1 mole of aluminum sulfate contains 2 moles of aluminum, 3 moles of sulfate. So 0.1 mole of it will contain 0.1 into 2, that is 0.2 moles of aluminum ion and 0.3 moles of sulfate ion, right? So the number of equivalents of aluminum ion is 0.2 into 3 is its valency factor, 0.6. I think we did the same answer, 0.6. And the number of equivalents of sulfate from aluminum sulfate is 0.3 into 2. 2 is its valency factor, 0.6. It has to be. In a particular formula unit, the number of equivalents will be same. The number of moles might be different, but the number of equivalents must be same because the charge will be same. 0.6 equivalents of aluminum ion contains 0.6 moles of charge, positive charge. 0.6 moles of 0.6 equivalents of sulfate ion will contain 1 mole of negative charge. That's it. Again, sodium sulfate. If 1 mole of sodium sulfate, there are 2 moles of sodium ion and 1 mole of sulfate ion. So there are 0.2 moles of sodium sulfate will contain 0.4, and sodium ion and sulfate ion will be same as 0.2. So sodium ion number of equivalents is same as its number of moles because the N factor is 1. And the number of equivalents of sulfate ion will be 0.2 into 2. 2 is its valency factor. So 0.4 from this sodium sulfate side and 0.6 from the aluminum sulfate side. So altogether the number of equivalents of sulfate ion is 0.6 plus 0.4 is equal to 1. And sodium ion number of equivalents is same as number of moles, 0.4, and the number of equivalents of aluminum ion is 3 times greater than the number of moles. That is, number of moles was 0.2 and the number of equivalents is 0.6. With this, I conclude this part of equivalent mass concept applied to molecules. You solve all these problems. I have highlighted these molecules whose equivalent mass you have to determine, particularly the N factor. I will not be serious if you miss out to find the molecular mass and really divide by the N factor to get the equivalent mass. I will just ignore that. I will want that you find out the correct N factor by finding the change in oxidation number per molecule, right? If it is an ionic equation per ion, if it is a molecular equation per molecule. So this will be an interesting case. I think we have already discussed this. This you have to do for hydrogen peroxide. Water we have already discussed. These are all metathesis reactions. You are required to find the equivalent mass simply applying the rule. And these are the numericals where equivalents are given. You have to convert it to moles or millimoles. Masses are given to convert it to moles, equivalents. Equivalents or milli equivalents are given. You are asked to convert to mass. So all these things, to put it at the end, I tell you, if number of milli equivalents, number of equivalents is equal to mass by equivalent mass. Obviously, mass is equal to equivalents, number of equivalents into equivalent mass. Or if you have milli equivalents is given, then it has to be multiplied with 10 to the power minus 3 or divided by 1000. So when you operate multiplied by 10 to the power minus 3 or divide by 1000, that will give you, convert the lower unit to higher unit. It will convert to equivalents and then multiplied by equivalent mass. That will give you mass. So if milli equivalents are known, then milli is destroyed, milli is killed by either dividing with 1000 or multiplying 10 to the power minus 3. So milli is gone. So when this and this, they kill each other. So it will be equivalents into equivalent mass. The number of equivalents into equivalent mass will give you the mass, absolute mass. Similarly, mass will be equal to the number of moles into molecular mass. Same way, number of equivalents, number of moles is equal to mass by molecular mass. This is mm. Mm means molecular mass. So mass will be equal to number of moles into into molecular mass. So these things keeping in mind, you solve all these very meticulously, and up to 15 problems and answers are given. Try to match. In many cases I have given the entire solution. You can match. So with this, bye bye. See you in the next program of BCC. This is perhaps, I'm very poor in counting, 15th lecture of BCC, Basic Concepts in Chemistry. We are few more to go, and we enter into most fascinating, the summit point, that is volumetric analysis. As if we are trekking, all of us. You as the trekkers, I am as your guide, and we are going to summit Kilimanjaro mountain top. So we are almost at the threshold of the summit point of Kilimanjaro. I'm scared of Everest. Although I'm an Indian, but I'm scared of Everest. It's invincible. But yes, Kilimanjaro in Africa, that is possibly can be conquered by us. Not by me, but by you, young students. Bye-bye. See you soon.